So over to you, Saket.
Sure. Thanks, Yashashri. Thank you, Aegis School. Thanks, Bhupesh, for giving me this platform. All right, guys, am I audible? Arya? A little bit of energy, please. Audible? Awesome, that's great. Okay, so my name is Saket Koria. I manage enterprise business for cybersecurity solutions from IBM for India West region. Today I'm here to talk about one of the most important aspects while any cybersecurity professional would be associated with it. It's like in Japanese we call gemba, the floor where things are actually happening or the value addition is actually happening. So when we talk about cybersecurity, you have the tools, you have people, you have your security devices. But all of that, where is it actually going and possibly being monitored from? Where are those professionals actually sitting and acting upon those devices? What's that place called as? Any idea? Come on, guys. SOC, yep. Security Operations Center, in short, SOC. So what's one of the most core component or the basic component for building up of a SOC? What is that software or utility or tool called as? SIEM solution. What does that stand for? Security, incident, and yes, event management. All right, monitoring. So has anybody ever used an SIEM solution? You, sir, right? What does it do? How does it functions or operates traditionally? Yeah?
So, yeah, it basically collects logs from every place that you would like to monitor and
Right.
correlate and give you an actionable item.
Absolutely, that's right. So we are all aware every device which is there on the network or probably even off the network for that matter is generating a lot of logs. Are we aware? Right? How many technologies do you think an enterprise or an organization would be actually, using within its infrastructure? How many technologies? Actually, more than that, yeah. But 20, 30, even like maybe a small and medium-sized organization, probably as good as only 10 users within that organization would be actually using 25 to 30 different technologies. So by technologies, I would say that maybe from the firewall aspect, could be Cisco, Fortinet, Junipers of the world, could be some kind of application servers, some databases. So different technologies, starting from the very basic routers and networking switching devices. Everything is kind of generating a whole lot of logs. Is it humanly possible for an individual to have expertise on each of these different technologies? Is it humanly possible? Not possible, right? Moreover, if each and every of this device is kind of showing you an alert, now first of all, humanly impossible to expertise on each of the different technologies. And then the bigger problem, each of these devices are working within their own silos and generating some kind of incidents or alerts. Again, is it possible to actually go in at the right time and monitor or to figure out what's happening wrong within the infra? Possible? Not possible. Difficult. Difficult. It's a difficult activity. How can we simplify that? With the help of a SIEM solution. Logs being collected from different sources, coming on a single dashboard, and giving you a much more easier access. Now, this is what organizations had been doing traditionally for years and years. When we talk about SOC, it's basically an SIM tool collecting a whole lot of logs and trying to, make sense, a human sense for the person who's sitting over there. Probably a SOC center would somewhere look like this. A huge dashboard up over there, a whole lot of people monitoring. Of course, then you can bifurcate between red teams and blue teams. Is it working? Can you just help me with the clicker? Okay, cool. So, just an SIM solution and some monitoring tools which actually help organizations build up the traditional SOC. And then once the SOC was there, obviously there were new types of concerns which were kind of unaddressed with the traditional SOC. So what do you have to do? Plan today for a better tomorrow. What we at IBM are helping organizations to build up is a next generation of a SOC. What it comprises of, I'll come to that. What are the business benefits? See, if there's no value add, the solution is not going to be appealing enough. So it has to have some kind of business benefits. And the business benefits have to be mapped to different people within the organization. So different people, different profiles. So for example, a CIO would have his own agenda that he has to go for a next-gen SOC. A CISO will have his own set of parameters. So you need to map these business benefits at the end of the day, enabling organizations to have a next-gen SOC. And of course, you should be knowing the right answers why you are going to go for a next-gen SOC. What's in it for you? What's in it for the organization? So, concerns with the traditional SOC, as I said, a whole lot of logs coming in from different sources. Imagine an organization which is like as good as probably just 5,000, 10,000 employees, and they're spread across multiple geographies, multiple locations. Keeping track of people itself is a kind of a challenging situation because people are moving, they are continuously, attrition issues, role changes every few days, every few months. So from the people aspect itself, there's a lot of movement. Over and above, growing infrastructure, businesses developing, their mergers and acquisitions happening. So you have to own up the other infrastructure, you have to get information about that particular infra as well at a very rapid pace. Moreover, once you are actually having an infrastructure from different sources, the logs are now being collected and correlated. How do you actually take care of information being analyzed at the right time, at the right pace? Because now there's a lot of velocity, there's a lot of volume for the information being available. And there's a gentleman or there's a set of team who are called as analysts, security analysts, who are continuously monitoring this information. And for them, it becomes a very, very difficult task to understand, okay, what kind of incident which my solution is showing up is of importance to me at this given point in time. It's actually a very difficult task. What eventually happens is, only 8% of the information which is being showcased is being utilized. So now you have the tools, but it's only 8% of the utilization of that particular information is actually happening. 93% of the SOC managers are not even able to triage all the threats. So now you probably also know what the threat is, and you can't even bring them under your control, or you can't address the concerns which are there. So essentially, what is happening is to categorize. There is an issue with the speed at which the data is actually coming and hitting the SOC. There's an issue with the volume, the amount of information which is coming. And then the bigger issue is the skills gap altogether, which is where probably Bhupesh and team, the Aegis school, is trying to sort out this particular gap, and probably all of us can add value over this, the skills issue. Because there could be government bodies, there could be agencies who will put up some standards, some laws into place. There will be organizations like IBM or a lot of other organizations who will be putting up tools in place, but it's the people's skills which you and me can actually fill up, right? So when we categorize 7 use cases that any organization will have, it would be probably getting categorized into one of these or some of them. Okay, insider threats, APTs, critical data protection, securing the cloud, managing risks and vulnerabilities, incident response, and compliance. So it could be either some of these or actually a mix of these, which will ask the organizations to go and build up a next generation of a SOC. Now coming down to expectations of business, what is the ask from business? The business owners probably they're not very technical guys. All that they want is business to be running. All that they want is business to be growing. And they should be protected against any kind of external threats or internal threats. That's their ask. It's as simple as that. So kind of reports that they will ask is who did, what they did, and how they did it. That's a kind of ask that a business owner will have. Now when it comes to SOC team, people who are sitting in security operations center, okay, what they would want from a capability standpoint is identify, investigate, hunt, and respond. So eventually when we talk about a platform, what kind of capabilities that a platform is actually able to address. First of all, it's kind of a funnel, right? The capability is that as much of data coming in from different sources, it should be able to, store within itself, categorize it, or categorize. The information could be from applications, from networking devices, databases, anything, okay? The retention capability should be there so that now you can also do historical analysis. You don't only want real-time reporting to be happening over there. The historical capabilities or the historical analysis should also be possible. Once you have that amount of data and historical analysis or capabilities possible, now you should be able to have a visibility of that. Post that identification and obviously time to act. So if you look at time to act, it should be very precise, on time, the fastest possible way. So now you're able to prioritize what incident or what alert needs to be addressed. So this is what a platform capability should be. Possibly when organizations are trying to evaluate such kind of platforms. In fact, this is one of the organizations, that's how they try to evaluate multiple different solutions and offerings out there. And this is how they actually think. So this is like you're getting into the mind of your customer and seeing that, okay, from the architecture, functionality, predictive analytics, automation, and integration standpoint, what are the key aspects that I would want my solution to be working across with? So different components, deployment models should be possible. What do we mean by deployment models? Anyone? The solution could be able to cater to on-premise, on-cloud, or hybrid. And hybrid actually is a way to go. As in, people may talk about that, the world is moving over cloud. Trust me, it's not going to happen anytime soon. You will still need a whole lot of things on-premise because that's how you are able to customize and do things for yourself. A cloud player or a service provider will not be able to understand you completely, even if he's able to probably over a period of time. You still might be having privacy concerns, security concerns. And that's where hybrid is, where the organizations are actually heading towards. It should be scalable enough, quite obvious. Functionality, user behavior and analytics. See, SIEM as a solution, okay, traditionally it has always been a solution which is working upon signals which are getting generated from a system, right? Or networking device generating some kind of signal, it goes ahead, tries to correlate it with some other devices, logs, gives you some kind of an output. But user behavior is something which is where the system signals may not be able to give you those kind of data points which are actually very, very necessary. For example, most of, like we all know, we have been studying the security as a curriculum, and the most amount of threats which are getting generated are insider threats, much more than the external threats. Why an insider threat? Because we have disgruntled employees, or we have employees who actually want to harm the system for their own some kind of benefits. Could be n number of reasons. Probably they are themselves socially attacked, and now the social engineering aspect has come into play. So people itself is like the most weakest link within the entire chain of security. As Smith as well said that your awareness factor itself needs to be increased, A lot of time a sales guy, marketing guy, HR guy, he may see that, okay, why should I go and attend a InfoSec or a cyber security training happening within the organization? But he fails to realize that, okay, if he gets some kind of an email, okay, how he needs to act on it, whether he actually even needs to open it. Once he does it, whether he needs to report it if he feels that something is not right about this. So the awareness factor, if it goes up, a lot of things can automatically be cured. Having said that, user behavior and analytics is kind of a layer which helps you overcome such concerns. Threat intelligence, getting free feeds from external sources. So as many feeds you're getting, better for you. Vulnerability correlation, obviously. Predictive analytics, so cognitive capabilities. As Bhupesh mentioned, what is cognitive capabilities? The system is able to learn by itself, understand, comprehend, and act over a period of time. Automation, one of the most important factors, and this is where a lot of enterprises and organizations are focusing in today's date. Because most of the SOC story was built around these two aspects. In last 5 years, a whole lot of things have happened over here, but this is where the future or the present is, where whether you have an SIM solution or no, whether you have some kind of firewall, web application filtering, or any kind of security solution, you have it or you don't have it, irrespective. If you have been attacked, you have to respond to it. And if you have to respond to it, you need to have a response plan for it. And that's where an orchestration and automation engine comes into play. Integration, quite basic. As many integrations with your network, with your infrastructure possible. So why is it trending now once again to a greater extent? Because earlier, we were integrating only with probably network devices, which eventually happened with applications and databases. But now, we have IoTs of the world. So now integration capabilities with this vast number of devices coming inside your infrastructure, your solution should be capable enough to understand that. So 4 pillars for a building up of a cognitive SOC. Solution should be able to uncover new insights, hunt for threats, orchestrate your response, and share threat intelligence. Coming down to each one of them. Uncovering new insights. As I said, accuracy, speed, skills, or intelligence. Now the dashboard itself should be easily understandable to the analyst. So in all likelihood, possibly, whether you are the security analyst or a CISO, anybody who's technical, non-technical, he should be able to comprehend what a dashboard is actually trying to convey. So here, within this is just one of a screenshots, okay? User behavior analytics. Here you are actually getting details of a risk score assigned to each and every user, that how risky this particular user is to your organization. The same user, it's kind of a graph which is being shown over here, that possibly the same user who's been working last 5 years for your organization, his activity was of a low risk. He never went ahead and tried checking out where the SAP databases are located. He never ever tried and possibly fiddling around with HR payroll management systems. All that he was doing is checking his salary slip, but today he's trying to log in inside some kind of an ERP or CRM where his organization doesn't want him to come in and have a check. So now his risk score has increased. So that's kind of a simple dashboard which is available for anybody, but you should be able to comprehend that, and the platform should be able to